Be honest, what's a sentence that absolutely killed you inside, but you pretended like it didn't? Mine was when I was visiting some friends and an old friend said to me, "I miss when you were my best friend."
I was dating someone and we were 6 months in. I felt like he was changing. So I confronted him. I told him, you used to do X, Y, and Z in the beginning of the relationship, but you don't do X, Y, and Z anymore. Is it because, you don't like me anymore? Like, should we break up? It was a serious talk, and I wanted to be as upfront with him as possible. And his response to me was this. He said to my face straight up, "I just don't feel the need to impress you anymore." And this was 9 years ago, and I still remember it to this day because it really stabbed me in the heart.
When my husband told me during an argument, if I were to ever call the cops, who do I think the cops will believe, because he's white and I'm black?
Well, I was 15 and I had just found out I was pregnant because my childhood friend's mama, Miss Jenny, probably the only mother figure in my life growing up, had just given me the test to find out. I went to her. And I knew I had to tell my mama because I was scared and I didn't know what to do, and I was 15. So I get home, she sits next to me, and I say, "Mama, I'm pregnant and I'm scared." Well, she stands up, finds the nearest Bible in her direction and throws it directly at my stomach and looks at me and says, "You're on your own with your bastard child." Sadly, she wasn't wrong. I was on my own. I acted like it didn't bother me and got up and went to my room, but it killed me that day.
So mine happened about a year ago, right after my son was born. We were still in the hospital, taking it all in, just enjoying that moment. Not long after that, the doctor walks in just to check up on her, see how we was doing. He looked at me, then he looks at my wife, then he looks back at me. And then with a smirk on his face, he says, "Now in order to let her body heal and recuperate properly, you have to avoid intercourse for the next 6 to 8 weeks." I understood what he was saying at that moment, but on the inside, a part of me died that day.
It was while I was in basic training, and my mother wrote me every single day. I also told my mom that she couldn't come because my dad was coming to my graduation. The entire time I was there, I only received one letter from him, and he says, "I apologize, but we're going on a cruise. We can't make it." And he promised me that he would come. I just wrote him back saying, "I completely understand and I hope you have fun." And that really hurt because inside I genuinely thought he would come. But as always, my mom is the best, and she came through and she came. So yeah.
On the 1 year anniversary of our marriage, where things were just not going great, and it was during COVID, my ex-husband came out of the room to me after a nice day out and said, "I don't want to go to therapy and I don't want to make it work." And to this day, I remember where I was and it completely destroyed me, but I pretended like nothing was wrong.
At the time, I was with some good friends, and we were talking about relationships, and a bunch of us were single, and they came to me, and I was like, "Yeah, I just believe in caring about people without reservations, because you're only in control of what you can do. You can't control how somebody else feels." And he looks at me and he goes, "You're gonna end up alone, 100%. No girl will ever want somebody like you with that attitude. Like, no one loves like that." And I carried that with me for a lot of years. But you know what? Someone important to me said to me, "You need to start looking at yourself like you look at other people." And that has totally changed the way I see my life.
The day before I left my husband, I asked if he was going to work on our marriage and what I could do to make him love me again. And he said to me, that he didn't love me and that he didn't want to make our marriage work. That he never wanted kids, including his two. And that he hated my child, his stepdaughter. And he just wanted to be alone by himself. So the next morning, I packed up my things and I left, and I never looked back.
When the server said, "We don't have Coke, is Pepsi okay?"
So, when my twin brother and I were 2 years old, we were put up for adoption. Our biological mother, Gloria, walked us into an office, the adoption agency. Sat down. We were told to go play. So, we did. But before we left, she said, "When I leave here, you're never going to see me again. I'm never coming back." We played for quite a while. I noticed she had left, but my brother didn't. And when he did, he said, "Where's Mommy? Go find Mommy." So I walked around that corner looking for Mommy. The lady at the desk saw me and said, "Don't you remember? She said she was never coming back."
Tried to stop a bank robbery once. Yeah, and this guy was like, "Move or I'll shoot." I was like, "Give it your best shot." He did. I have a 2-inch hole in my chest.
Turn your brightness up. I'm black. Anywho, this was a while ago. It actually came from my mom. It was around like 6 a.m. right before she had to go to work. And she said, "You got to do something with your life. Maybe music isn't for you." And I told her, "Ma, music is going to get us there one day." And she just closed the door and went to work. Honest to God, it was pretty painful, but I didn't let it break me. I, reevaluated myself, and since then, a couple of my songs have gone a little viral. But hey, it doesn't stop there. Mama needs a new crib and a new whip, and she needs to retire, so soon.
I don't know if this counts, but I'm going to use it anyway. A while back, I was texting one of my best friends, the friend I grew up with, I knew the longest, just to ask what he was doing that weekend, because I knew him and his wife had just bought a new house. He said, "Not much, man. We're tired. It's been a long week moving. We're just going to be lazy." All right, that's fair. Then the next week, I saw where they had a fucking housewarming party with everybody in our friend group. And it wasn't an impromptu party either. There was decorations and shit. So needless to say, I don't consider that my friend group anymore. But I'll still talk to that friend every now and then, and he'll always be like, "Hey, man, I miss you. We should hang out. We should catch up." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, we should." But I know we shouldn't, and we won't.
Mine would have to be when I was married. Was married. I just lost our 4th baby. I kept having miscarriages when I was married, but after I got the DNC, and he wanted me to clean and do whatever around the house, so I did. And I made dinner, and we were sitting down getting ready to eat dinner, and he looks at me and he says, "If you don't have a baby for me soon, I'm gonna leave you." And I said, "Okay." And then I left.
Never again do you have friends like the ones you have when you're 16. In that moment, I would have given it for less. I am alive. Love can't cure a mental illness. Off with their heads. She is worth so much more. I am made of memories. And we're not. You are not a complete idiot. Well, you certainly managed that. I'm going to leave because I honestly can't look at you. I would have come for you.
I was in the living room playing with my baby sister, and out of nowhere my mother comes storming into the living room. She snatched the baby back from me and took her back to her room. Then she storms back into the living room screaming obscenities. At this point, I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about. While in my confused state, she decided to calm down and tell me the sentence, "Come here, baby. I love you. I won't hurt you." After hearing that, those words comforted me. Then I proceeded to take those steps toward her. Then sure as shit, that bitch started to beat me into a 4-day coma. So long story short, the day I heard those words, "Come here, baby. I won't hurt you. I love you," I realized
And a few family members would say, "You're so selfish." Yeah, I didn't think this was gonna make me so emotional. But basically, growing up, I was very stern. I did not let people walk all over me. So they'll ask me for something and I'd be very strict about it and say, "No, I cannot do that." And so they'd throw the selfish word out and I would act like I didn't care. Recently, my life coach helped me understand why I don't celebrate things in my life. It stems from the selfish word. Anything good that happens to me, I'll just kind of suppress it and act like it's not a big deal. Or I'll just focus on everyone else's happiness because I'm always trying not to be selfish. So I hit a point in my life where I just felt unfulfilled. A lot of good things happen in my life. I don't know why. I don't ask for them. They come and then I feel like I don't deserve it. But my life coach made me realize I do deserve it. And that those are just people that can't get their way. They don't want you to be the strong person. They just want you to do what they want you to do. I've learned that having boundaries is not a bad thing. It's just bad for people that want to manipulate you. I own the selfish word now.
I was shunned by my parents July 2018. This includes my sister, my younger brother, and my baby sister. She was 2 at the time. I ran into them at the laundromat, and this was November, so it's only been a few months. And I tried to talk to my mom, and she ignored me, and she continued putting in detergent. I tried to talk to my sister, she ignored me. My baby brother, he ignored me. My 2-year-old baby sister ran up to me, and I held her, and she said, "Crystal, I missed you." And I said, "Do you remember me?" And she was like, "Yeah, I do." It's been 3 years. She was 2 years old. I don't think she's gonna remember that for a very long time. Cue Chicago with them firecrackers.
2 years ago, I got pregnant, and my boyfriend and I sat down to tell my parents. And my dad sighed really heavy, looked at me and said, "Well, you and that baby aren't living under my roof, and if he doesn't want you, that's not my problem. You can go sleep on the streets for all I care." And then he looked at my then boyfriend and said, "She's your problem now." And that same night, my boyfriend pulled out a ring and asked me to marry him. Here we are, almost 3 years later. So, my dad didn't want me, but my husband sure as hell did.
So the last time I went back home was on December 2018. I was approximately around 200 pounds, 89 kilograms. And, I was about to leave. I had to catch a flight. I was wearing a crop top, and I was like feeling a little cute, talking to my sister-in-law. And at that moment, my mom felt like she should remind me, and her exact words were, "You're not even that beautiful, and you feel so confident. Now imagine if you were beautiful. Imagine if you were light-skinned." It's 2021. I am 116 pounds, which is approximately around 53 kilograms, and I haven't been home in 3 years, almost.
While we were still together, but things were getting really hard, I asked my ex, "Are we still friends?" And they said, "I don't think we are."
So one time I was in gym class and I was talking to these girls, and then I was laughing because I said something funny or something like that. And then one of the girls goes, "You'd be really attractive if you had straight teeth."
When I was in college, I worked at Applebee's as an expediter. So if you don't know what an expediter is, it's the person basically between the kitchen and the waiters. And you have to be really stern to be an expo because the kitchen is so loud and they're sometimes really mean, and the waiters are really demanding because they're facing the customers. They have a lot of pressure on them. And one day I was being really stern. This one girl was trying to take someone else's food, and I told her she couldn't have it. And my manager was like, "You have to be stern. You're the glue that keeps the restaurant together." And she just looked at me and she was like, "You're such an asshole." And I basically spent the next 4 years of my life being the biggest people